If you're seeing this, it's not random. Listen until the end, Chosen One.
Chosen One, listen to me carefully. What I'm about to share is not for everyone. This message is urgent, and it is meant only for those who truly walk the divine path of God. If you are here just out of curiosity or entertainment, this is not for you. But if you are a true follower of God, if you have felt different all your life, if your spirit has been restless lately, then stay. This message has reached you at the exact moment it was meant to. Not early, not late. Perfect timing. Today, I need to speak to you about something sacred. You are walking in the same divine line as Moses, Elijah, and David. But this is the end-time edition. Their battles look different from yours, but the calling is the same. The weight you carry, the isolation you feel, the fire in your spirit. It all makes sense now. What I'm about to reveal will bring clarity to your struggles, peace to your mind, and confirmation to your soul. If you stay until the end, you will understand why your life has never been ordinary and why God has been shaping you quietly all along. Before we continue, Chosen Ones, give a like to this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, tap the bell icon, and share this message with other Chosen Ones so they don't miss their moment. And comment 777 in the comments to let heaven and earth know you are aligned with the mission God placed on your life. Now listen closely. This is where your understanding begins. The lineage of the chosen. God repeats his patterns. Chosen One, let me settle your mind first. God does not work randomly. He never has. What looks like chaos to the world is patterned to heaven. What feels confusing to you is already mapped out in the spirit. Once you understand this, something inside you relaxes. You stop fighting your identity. You stop questioning why your life unfolded the way it did. God has always worked through patterns. When darkness increases, he raises light. When people fall asleep spiritually, he awakens watchmen. When systems become corrupt, he calls individuals who cannot be bought, silenced, or bent. This is not new. This is ancient, and you are part of it. You see, chosen ones are not chosen because they are better. They are chosen because they are willing. Willing to carry weight others avoid. Willing to feel deeply in a world that numbs itself. Willing to walk alone when the crowd feels safer. That willingness places you into a lineage, not a bloodline, a spiritual one. This is where many people get confused. They think being chosen is about superiority. It is not. It is about responsibility. And responsibility always comes with pressure. That pressure you have felt since childhood, the sense that your life had meaning beyond survival, that was not imagination. That was recognition. God repeats himself, but he never copies. Moses, Elijah, and David were not the same men, yet they carried the same spiritual signatures. Authority, sensitivity, courage, brokenness, obedience. When God needed deliverance, he raised Moses. When truth was under attack, he raised Elijah. When the heart of worship needed restoration, he raised David. Different roles, same source. And now, in this generation, God is doing it again. The environment has changed, but the pattern has not. You were not placed here to blend in. You were placed here to function. Let me say something gently but firmly. If you have always felt out of place, that is not a flaw. That is a sign. Chosen ones rarely feel comfortable in systems that were not designed for truth. You may function in them, but you never fully belong to them. Your spirit knows this, even when your mind tries to adjust. That inner tension you feel, the pull between the world and something higher, that is the mark of lineage. Ordinary people do not wrestle with purpose. They accept routines. They follow trends. They adapt easily. Chosen ones question everything, not because they are rebellious, but because their spirit refuses to settle for shallow answers. God repeats his patterns because humanity forgets. Every generation needs reminders. Every generation needs carriers. That is why you feel like you see through things faster than others. That is why certain conversations drain you. That is why surface-level living feels exhausting to you. You are wired for depth. And here is something most people will never tell you. Being chosen does not always feel spiritual. Often it feels heavy, confusing, lonely. You ask God why the road feels harder for you than for others, why your lessons seem deeper, why your pruning seems relentless. The answer is not punishment. The answer is preparation. Look closely at Scripture and you will see it clearly. Moses was prepared in obscurity. Elijah was refined in isolation. David was shaped in rejection. God always works inward before he works outward. That is the pattern, and you are in it. Some of you have tried to escape this identity. You tried to be normal. You tried to quiet the calling. You tried to fit into smaller versions of yourself because standing fully in who you are felt risky. But the calling kept pulling you back. That is not obsession. That is alignment. Chosen one, hear this slowly. You did not choose this path. The path recognized you. That is why it keeps finding you even when you walk away. That is why certain doors closed no matter how hard you pushed. God was not blocking you. He was redirecting you. This lineage is not glamorous. Moses faced constant resistance. Elijah faced isolation and exhaustion. David faced betrayal and heartbreak. Yet all three were sustained by the same thing: divine intimacy. They knew God personally, not religiously. Personally. That is the difference. Chosen ones do not just believe in God. They walk with him. They argue with him. They cry before him. They listen to him. And that relationship sets them apart more than any title ever could. If you have ever felt like God speaks to you in quiet moments through conviction rather than noise, that is lineage language. If you feel correction before comfort, that is lineage discipline. God handles chosen ones directly. He does not outsource their growth. And yes, that can feel intense, but it also means you are never abandoned. Even when you feel lost, you are guided. Even when you feel alone, you are seen. The pattern holds. Let me calm another fear you may have. Walking in this lineage does not mean you must live under pressure forever. It means you must understand why the pressure exists. Once you understand, it no longer crushes you. It sharpens you. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are positioned. God places his chosen exactly where they need to be, exactly when they need to be there. Timing is part of the calling. So if your life did not unfold the way you expected, good. That means it unfolded the way God intended. And now you are ready to understand it. This lineage is not about copying Moses, Elijah, or David. It is about carrying the same obedience in a different era, the same courage in a modern battlefield, the same faith in a louder world. And as we move forward, I will help you see exactly how this lineage shows up in your life personally, not theoretically, not symbolically, but practically. Take a breath. You are not imagining this. You are remembering who you are. You carry the spirit of Moses, the burden bearer. Chosen one, let me speak to the tired part of you, the part that rarely gets acknowledged, the part that keeps going even when no one notices. If you have often felt like you carry more weight than others, this is where you will finally feel understood. Moses was not chosen because he was confident. He was chosen because he was willing to carry a burden most people would run from. And that same spirit rests on you, not the title, not the position, the burden. From a young age, you felt responsible in ways you could not explain. You sensed that if something went wrong, you had to fix it. If someone was hurting, you felt it deeply. If a situation was unstable, your spirit felt compelled to step in. That did not come from conditioning. It came from calling. The spirit of Moses carries responsibility before recognition, pressure before promotion, weight before reward. You may have wondered why life gave you maturity early and comfort late, why you had to grow up faster than others, why people leaned on you even when you were still learning yourself. That was not accidental. Moses carried people who constantly complained, doubted, and resisted him. He stood between God and humanity, absorbing frustration from both sides. And if you are honest, you have lived that pattern. You are often the mediator, the peacemaker, the one who understands both sides but feels fully understood by none. This is where many chosen ones begin to feel exhausted. You give advice, you offer support, you show up, but when you need someone, the room feels quiet. That silence is painful. And I want you to know something important. God sees that silence. He counts every moment you stood strong while feeling unseen. You see, the Moses-type calling attracts dependency. People sense your stability. They feel safe around you. They lean on your strength. But they rarely ask if you are okay. That does not mean they are cruel. It means they recognize something in you that they do not fully understand. Let me say this clearly. Being strong does not mean being unbreakable. Even Moses reached moments where he told God he could not carry the weight anymore. He felt overwhelmed. He felt misunderstood. He felt stretched beyond capacity. And God did not shame him for that. God responded. If you have ever felt guilty for being tired, release that guilt now. Fatigue does not disqualify you. It confirms you are carrying something meaningful. The problem is not that you feel tired. The problem is that you believed you had to carry everything alone. The spirit of Moses teaches this lesson slowly. You are responsible, but you are not the source. You are a vessel, not the supply. And many chosen ones struggle here because they confuse calling with self-sacrifice. They give until they are empty, thinking that is obedience. But God never asked you to bleed dry. Moses had to learn delegation. He had to learn limits. He had to learn that obedience includes rest. And so do you. Carrying the spirit of Moses does not mean carrying everyone's burden at the cost of your peace. It means carrying what God assigned, not what people demand. This is where your therapy begins. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to step back. You are allowed to recharge. Rest is not rebellion. Rest is trust. When you rest, you declare that God is still in control even when you are not actively fixing everything. Another trait of the Moses spirit is confrontation with resistance. You may notice that when you speak truth, not everyone celebrates it. Some push back. Some misunderstand. Some accuse you of being too intense, too serious, too much. Moses faced that constantly. Liberation often feels threatening to those comfortable in bondage. Do not let resistance confuse you. Opposition does not mean you are wrong. It often means you are effective. When you challenge stagnation, people react. When you question systems, systems push back. That does not mean retreat. It means discernment. You are not called to fight every battle. Moses did not argue with every complaint. He listened when needed, corrected when required, and withdrew when necessary. Wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. The chosen learn this through experience. And yes, this path can feel lonely. Leadership often is. But loneliness does not mean abandonment. It means you are being shaped in places where distractions cannot follow. God often pulls his burden bearers into quiet spaces so they can hear him clearly. If you have been feeling isolated recently, understand this. God sometimes removes noise before he gives instruction. He reduces voices so you can hear his. That isolation is not rejection. It is refinement. Let me address another hidden pain. Many of you struggle with self-doubt. You ask yourself if you are doing enough, if you are enough, if you are failing God somehow. That doubt comes from caring deeply, not from weakness. Moses doubted himself too. He questioned his ability. He focused on his flaws. Yet God focused on his obedience. God does not need your perfection. He needs your availability. He does not ask you to know everything. He asks you to trust him step by step. And when you stumble, he corrects you, not condemns you. Chosen one, hear this gently. You are not behind. You are not slow. You are not failing. You are carrying weight that requires patience. Growth under pressure takes time. Strength formed in responsibility matures deeply. If your life feels heavy right now, it may be because you are carrying something significant. But heaviness is not your final state. Relief comes when you learn to carry it with God, not for God. Let your shoulders relax. You were never meant to carry the whole journey alone. The same God who parted seas for Moses is walking with you now, not rushing you, not pressuring you, guiding you. And as we move forward, you will begin to see that the burden you carry is not meant to break you. It is meant to shape you into someone who can stand steady when others cannot. Take another breath. You are doing better than you think. You carry the spirit of Elijah, the isolated fire, chosen one. Now let me speak to the quiet ache you don't always have words for. The loneliness that doesn't come from lack of people, but from lack of resonance. The feeling that you are surrounded yet unseen, understood by God but rarely by humans. This is where the spirit of Elijah lives. Elijah was not a crowd man. He was not built for popularity. He was built for truth, and truth often stands alone. If you have noticed that you function best away from noise, away from constant interaction, away from shallow conversation, this is not antisocial behavior. This is spiritual design. The spirit of Elijah carries fire, but that fire is not loud all the time. Sometimes it burns quietly. Sometimes it waits. Sometimes it withdraws. Elijah confronted nations, yet he also hid by a brook. He called down fire, yet he also collapsed under exhaustion. Strength and sensitivity lived in the same body. Many chosen ones struggle here because they think something is wrong with them. They wonder why social environments drain them, why they feel overstimulated easily, why they need long periods of silence to feel balanced again. Let me reassure you. Your nervous system is not weak. It is finely tuned. You are sensitive because you are perceptive. You feel atmospheres. You sense intentions. You pick up on undercurrents others ignore. That is not emotional instability. That is discernment. But discernment comes with a cost. It requires distance to recalibrate. Elijah lived most of his calling in isolation, not because he hated people, but because his assignment required clarity. Noise distorts clarity. Crowds dilute conviction. And God knew Elijah needed solitude to stay aligned. The same applies to you. You may have noticed seasons where God pulls you away. Friendships fade. Social circles shrink. Invitations decrease. At first, it feels like rejection. You ask yourself what you did wrong, but later, you realize something changed inside you. You became sharper, clearer, more grounded. Isolation is one of God's most misunderstood tools. People think it means abandonment. In truth, it often means protection. God removes you from environments that would drain your fire before it fulfills its purpose. Let me speak plainly. Not everyone is meant to walk with you. Not everyone can handle your depth. Not everyone understands your silence. Elijah faced this too. He believed he was alone. He told God no one else remained. Yet God reminded him that he was not alone, just separated. Chosen one, separation is not loneliness. Loneliness is the absence of connection. Separation is the presence of focus. God separates his fire carriers so the flame does not get contaminated. Another trait of the Elijah spirit is emotional intensity. You feel things deeply. Injustice angers you. Hypocrisy frustrates you. Truth matters to you more than comfort. This can make you feel misunderstood in a world that prefers convenience over conviction. You may have been told you are too intense, too serious, too passionate, too quiet, too observant, too much. Elijah was seen the same way. He disrupted false peace. He challenged comfortable lies, and that made people uncomfortable. But hear this carefully. Your intensity is not aggression. It is alignment. You see clearly because you are positioned to see clearly. God gives the Elijah spirit eyes that penetrate illusion. This is also why burnout happens. Elijah reached a breaking point. After his greatest victory, he collapsed. He asked God to take his life, not because he lacked faith, but because he was exhausted. Victory does not cancel fatigue. Success does not eliminate emotional depletion. If you have ever reached a point where you felt spiritually empty after giving everything, you are not weak. You are human. God did not rebuke Elijah in that moment. He fed him. He let him rest. He spoke gently. This is important. God responds to burnout with nourishment, not judgment. If you have been hard on yourself for needing rest, stop. God is not disappointed in your exhaustion. He is inviting you to recover. Another misunderstood part of the Elijah spirit is emotional solitude. You may love God deeply, yet feel disconnected from people. You crave meaningful connection, but shallow interaction leaves you feeling empty. That is not contradiction. That is design tension. Elijah was deeply connected to God, yet struggled with human connection. Many chosen ones live here. They feel closest to God in silence, closest to clarity in solitude, closest to peace when alone, and society often mislabels this as withdrawal. But let me tell you something freeing. You do not owe the world constant accessibility. Your peace is not selfish. Your silence is not rudeness. Your boundaries are not rejection. They are maintenance. Fire requires oxygen, but it also requires containment. Uncontrolled fire burns out. Contained fire warms, illuminates, and sustains. God teaches his Elijahs how to contain their fire. This also explains why you often feel misunderstood by religious systems. Elijah confronted religious corruption directly. He did not conform to appearances. He obeyed God, not institutions. Chosen ones with this spirit often feel uncomfortable in rigid environments. You are not rebellious. You are discerning. You question what does not align. You notice when spirituality becomes performance, and that awareness isolates you. But it also protects your integrity. Let me soothe another fear. Isolation does not mean permanent separation. Elijah was eventually sent back, but he was sent back different, stronger, clearer, more anchored. God never isolates without purpose. If you are in a season of quiet right now, trust it. God is recalibrating you. He is refining your voice. He is strengthening your inner life so external pressure does not break you. You may feel invisible at times, like your fire burns unseen. But God sees it. He guards it. He fans it when the time is right. Your role is not to force visibility. Your role is to remain aligned. Chosen one, you are not strange. You are not disconnected. You are not forgotten. You are carrying sacred fire. Fire that must be protected before it is revealed. And as we move forward, you will begin to understand that your solitude is not an absence of purpose. It is the womb where purpose matures. Stay steady. Your fire has not gone out, it is being preserved. You carry the heart of David, the broken yet anointed, chosen one. Now let me speak to the part of you that feels deeply, the part that loves hard, hurts quietly, and still believes even after disappointment. This is the place where many of you struggle the most, because this is where the heart of David lives. David was not chosen because he was flawless. He was chosen because his heart stayed open to God, open to conviction, open to growth. And that same heart beats within you. You feel things more intensely than others, not because you are fragile, but because you are alive. From an early age, you learned how to feel deeply. Joy moved you strongly. Pain lingered longer. Words affected you more than people realized. You may have tried to toughen yourself, to care less, to protect your heart by closing it, but it never quite worked. That sensitivity is not something you picked up. It is something you were born with. The heart of David is emotional, expressive, creative, and sincere. David worshipped with everything he had. He cried openly. He rejoiced loudly. He repented deeply. He did not hide his humanity from God, and that is why God trusted him. Chosen ones with the heart of David often feel misunderstood. People may see your emotions as weakness. They may tell you that you feel too much, that you are too soft, too vulnerable, too affected by things that others brush off. But what they fail to see is that your depth allows you to connect where others remain shallow. This depth also makes you a target. David was loved by God, yet attacked by Saul. He was loyal, yet betrayed. He was anointed, yet hunted. And if you look honestly at your life, you will recognize this pattern. You gave your best and still faced rejection. You showed loyalty and still experienced betrayal. This hurts deeply for those with David's heart. Betrayal cuts you at the core because you never approach relationships lightly. You invest, you commit, you believe. And when that trust is broken, it leaves a scar. Let me speak healing into that scar. The betrayals you endured were not proof that you were foolish. They were proof that your heart was genuine. God does not shame you for loving deeply. He honors it. David's life teaches us something crucial. Being anointed does not mean being protected from pain. It means being preserved through it. David cried out to God repeatedly. He questioned, he lamented, he wrestled, yet he never disconnected from God. If you have ever wondered why God allowed you to be hurt despite your faith, know this: God values your heart more than your comfort. He refines hearts like David's because they are powerful. A guarded heart cannot carry God's presence the way an open one can. Another struggle you may recognize is guilt. Chosen ones with David's heart often hold themselves to high moral and emotional standards. When they fall short, they punish themselves harshly. David sinned, and his repentance was intense. He did not excuse himself. He took responsibility. This is where many of you live. You replay your mistakes. You regret words spoken in emotion. You wish you had handled situations differently. You ask God repeatedly for forgiveness, even after He has already granted it. Hear this carefully. Conviction leads to growth. Condemnation leads to paralysis. God convicts you to restore you, not to crush you. David repented, but he did not quit his calling. He learned and moved forward. Your past does not disqualify you. Your emotional wounds do not disqualify you. Your mistakes do not erase your anointing. God chose David knowing his flaws. God chose you knowing yours. The heart of David also carries courage, not the loud, aggressive kind, but the steady kind that faces giants with trust in God. David did not fight Goliath to prove himself. He fought because he trusted God. You have faced giants too: fear, rejection, self-doubt, loneliness, and even when you were afraid, you kept moving. That quiet courage is part of your design. Another trait of David's heart is creativity. Many chosen ones express themselves through art, words, music, or ideas. Creativity is how your heart processes the world. It is how you heal. It is how you worship. You may have noticed that creativity flows strongest when you are emotional, when you are hurting, inspired, or reflective. That is not instability. That is emotional intelligence. God gave David songs before He gave him a throne. And here is something deeply therapeutic. David learned to strengthen himself in God when no one else did. There were moments when everyone abandoned him. In those moments, he turned inward and upward. He found stability in God. This is a skill you are learning too. When support is absent, when reassurance is scarce, you are learning to ground yourself in God's presence. It is painful, but it is powerful. Let me address one more hidden struggle. Many of you fear that your heart will get you hurt again. You wonder if staying open is wise. You consider closing yourself off to protect yourself. David teaches us balance. Guard your heart, but do not harden it. Protect your boundaries, but do not bury your emotions. Wisdom does not require numbness. It requires discernment. God does not want you to stop feeling. He wants you to feel safely. He wants your heart healed, not hidden. And healing does not mean forgetting the pain. It means no longer being controlled by it. Chosen one, your heart is not a liability. It is a sacred instrument. God trusts you with depth because depth can carry His presence. As we move forward, you will begin to understand that your emotional journey was not wasted. Every tear, every prayer, every heartbreak shaped you into someone capable of leading with compassion and strength. Stay open, stay humble, stay connected. God is not finished with your heart. End Time Edition. Why you're here now. Chosen one. Now let me bring everything into focus. This is where many of your questions finally settle. Because you were not just called like Moses, Elijah, or David. You were called now. And timing matters more than people realize. When Scripture speaks about the end times, many people think only of fear, disaster, or judgment. But spiritually, end time means something deeper. It means a season where truth and deception exist side by side more clearly than ever before. Light becomes brighter. Darkness becomes bolder. and discernment becomes essential. That is why you feel what you feel lately. The pressure in the world has increased, confusion feels heavier, moral lines feel blurred, noise is everywhere, information is constant, opinions are loud, and yet clarity feels rare. This environment requires a specific type of person, a steady one, a discerning one, a grounded one. That is why you are here. Chosen ones awaken during unstable times, not to panic, not to preach fear, but to anchor truth. You are not here to shout louder than the world. You are here to stand calmer than it. The end-time calling is not about prediction. It is about positioning. God positions his chosen as witnesses of truth, carriers of peace, and holders of discernment when everything else feels unstable. You may have noticed that you no longer resonate with extreme narratives. Fear-based messages exhaust you. Sensational spirituality unsettles you. You crave depth, not drama. That is not avoidance. That is maturity. In earlier generations, God needed deliverers from physical bondage. In this generation, he needs deliverers from mental, emotional, and spiritual confusion. People are not just lost geographically, they are lost internally. And you sense this. You feel it in conversations. You see it online. You hear it in people's exhaustion. That is why your spirit stays alert. You are wired to see beneath the surface. The end-time edition of the Moses spirit looks like guiding people out of mental slavery. The Elijah spirit confronts false narratives and spiritual hypocrisy. The David heart restores authentic connection with God in a world that turned faith into performance. You are not here to argue theology endlessly. You are here to model clarity. You are not here to prove holiness. You are here to embody it quietly. Let me say something grounding. God did not place you in this time without preparation. You may feel like you are still learning, still growing, still healing. But preparation is not about perfection. It is about alignment. Every challenge you faced sharpened a skill you need now. The loneliness taught you independence. The betrayal taught you discernment. The responsibility taught you leadership. The silence taught you listening. Nothing was wasted. The end-time calling requires emotional regulation. People will come to you confused, anxious, overwhelmed. If you are reactive, you will absorb their chaos. But if you are grounded, you will stabilize them. That is why God trained you internally before assigning you externally. You learned to sit with discomfort. You learned to self-reflect. You learned to pray when answers were not immediate. These are end-time survival skills. Let me calm another fear. You are not responsible for saving the world. That is not your burden. Jesus already carried that. Your role is smaller but sacred. Influence, not control. Presence, not pressure. Chosen ones often burn out because they believe they must fix everything. But end-time wisdom understands this. You serve best when you are centered, not exhausted. The world is loud right now. Everyone wants attention. Everyone wants validation. Everyone wants to be right. God is not impressed by noise. He looks for obedience. And obedience in this season often looks quiet. It looks like integrity when no one is watching. It looks like restraint when reaction is tempting. It looks like peace when chaos is contagious. This is why you may feel a pull away from extremes. You are not lukewarm. You are balanced. You are learning how to hold truth without becoming harsh and conviction without becoming rigid. That balance is rare, and that is why God trusts you with it. Another sign you are positioned for this time is discernment fatigue. You are tired of lies, tired of manipulation, tired of spiritual shortcuts. You want what is real. That hunger is holy. In end times, deception does not always look dark. Sometimes it looks spiritual. Sometimes it looks convincing. That is why discernment matters more than charisma. You may not be the loudest voice in the room, but you are often the clearest. People sense that. They may not articulate it, but they feel safe around your clarity. That safety is part of your assignment. Let me reassure you about something else. You do not need to rush. End time does not mean last-minute panic. God is not scrambling. Heaven is not stressed. Timing is precise. You are allowed to grow at God's pace. You are allowed to mature slowly. You are allowed to say no to urgency that is not God-driven. Pressure that produces fear is not from God. Conviction that produces clarity is. Chosen one, you are not late to your calling. You are early enough to prepare and strong enough to endure. The world may be shaking, but you are being rooted. The noise may increase, but your clarity will deepen. The confusion may spread, but your discernment will sharpen. You are here now because your spirit can handle now. And as we move forward, you will learn how to walk this calling without losing your peace, without burning out, and without disconnecting from God's presence. Take another steady breath. You were born for this time, and you are not facing it alone. Walking this path without losing your peace. Chosen one, now we come to something very important. This calling you carry is real, but it was never meant to crush you. God did not choose you so you could live anxious, exhausted, or emotionally drained. He chose you so you could walk in truth with peace. And peace is not optional. Peace is protection. Many chosen ones struggle here because they confuse intensity with alignment. They think that if they are not constantly alert, constantly analyzing, constantly carrying weight, they are failing God. That belief slowly steals joy. It tightens the chest. It clouds the mind. And God never asked for that. Walking this path well means learning how to stay grounded while remaining sensitive. It means being aware without being overwhelmed, present without being pressured. This balance is learned, not automatic. Let me start with boundaries. Boundaries are not selfish. They are sacred. Jesus withdrew often. Moses stepped away from the people. Elijah rested under the tree. Even David retreated into worship. If they needed space, so do you. You are allowed to step back from conversations that drain you. You are allowed to limit access to your energy. You are allowed to say no without explanation. Protecting your peace is not rebellion against your calling. It is stewardship of it. Another key to walking this path peacefully is discernment over reaction. Not everything deserves your response. Not every opinion requires your defense. Chosen ones often feel the urge to correct everything that feels wrong, but wisdom teaches restraint. Silence can be obedience. Waiting can be obedience. Trusting God to handle what you cannot is obedience. You do not have to carry every burden that passes in front of you. Let me say this clearly. You are not responsible for everyone's awakening. Some people are not ready. Some are resistant. Some are committed to misunderstanding, and that is not your failure. Your assignment is alignment, not persuasion. Another thing you must release is spiritual comparison. Looking at others and wondering if you are doing enough, growing fast enough, impacting deeply enough will steal your peace quickly. God does not mass-produce chosen ones. He custom designs them. Your pace is intentional. Your journey is specific. What God is doing in you may not look impressive to others yet, but it is effective. Depth is quiet before it is visible. Rest is another lesson many chosen ones resist. They fear slowing down will make them lose momentum, but rest does not slow you. It restores you. It sharpens your discernment. It stabilizes your emotions. If you have been feeling restless, irritable, or disconnected lately, your spirit may be asking for rest, not more effort. God speaks clearly when the soul is calm. Let me also address spiritual ego, because this is where peace quietly slips away. Being chosen does not mean being superior. It means being accountable. Pride disconnects you from grace faster than failure ever could. Stay humble, stay teachable, stay honest with God. When correction comes, receive it without shame. When growth is required, embrace it without resistance. Peace lives where humility stays. Another practice that protects peace is consistency, not intensity. Consistency. Small, daily alignment with God matters more than emotional highs. Prayer does not have to be dramatic. Scripture does not have to be forced. Stillness does not need explanation. God is not impressed by performance. He values presence. Let me ground you in this truth. You do not have to prove you are chosen. Your fruit will speak for you. Your calm will speak for you. Your clarity will speak for you. When people feel safe around you, that is fruit. When confusion settles in your presence, that is fruit. When fear quiets near you, That is fruit. You do not need to announce your calling. Live it. Also, understand that peace does not mean absence of struggle. It means stability within it. You will still face challenges, you will still feel emotions, you will still wrestle with questions, but peace keeps you from spiraling. When anxiety rises, pause, breathe, return to God. When doubt appears, do not panic. Examine it calmly. When fear knocks, do not invite it to stay. Acknowledge it, then release it. You are learning emotional regulation, not emotional suppression. One more thing you must accept. Not everyone will understand your growth. As you become more grounded, some relationships will shift. Some people preferred you when you were uncertain, available, and overgiving. When you grow centered, it challenges them. Do not shrink to maintain comfort, but also do not harden your heart. Walk forward with compassion and clarity. Chosen one, peace is not something you find at the end of the journey. It is something you practice along the way, and practice requires patience. God is not rushing you. Heaven is not stressed. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to enjoy life. You are allowed to feel joy without guilt. Your calling does not require suffering to be valid. It requires faithfulness. As you walk this path, remember this. The same God who called you also sustains you. The same God who revealed truth to you also protects your mind. You are not walking blind, you are walking guided. And when you feel overwhelmed, return to this simple truth. You are doing what you can, with what you have, where you are. That is enough. Stay grounded, stay gentle, stay aligned. Peace is not weakness, it is strength under control. And now let us close this moment with clarity and reassurance. Conclusion. You are never walking alone. Chosen one, let me leave you with this truth, resting gently on your spirit. You are never walking alone. Not in your confusion, not in your isolation, not in your exhaustion. Every step you took, even the ones that hurt, God was present. Moses felt overwhelmed. Elijah felt alone. David felt broken. Yet none of them were abandoned. God walked with them through uncertainty, through silence, through waiting. And He is walking with you the same way now, quietly, faithfully, purposefully. The reason this message resonated with you is simple. You recognize yourself in it, not because you imagined a calling, but because the calling remembered you. Your life has not been random. Your struggles have not been meaningless. Your sensitivity has not been weakness. It has all been preparation. You are part of a sacred lineage, one that carries truth without arrogance, fire without chaos, authority without fear. And now in this moment you are stepping into understanding. Understanding brings peace. Peace brings strength. You do not need to rush ahead. You do not need to prove anything. Walk steadily. Stay aligned. Let God unfold your path one step at a time. The same God who guided Moses through the wilderness, sustained Elijah in isolation, and restored David after failure is guiding you now. If this message brought clarity, comfort, or confirmation to your spirit, do not ignore that. Respond to it. Before you go, chosen ones, give a like to this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, tap the bell icon, and share this message with other chosen ones who may need this confirmation today. And comment 777 in the comments to declare that you are aligned, grounded, and walking faithfully in the mission God has entrusted to you. Stay steady, stay faithful, stay at peace. God is not finished with you yet.